Surf Splendor.
I originally, when was that Paniche WCT contest? Remember that first one they had? Super
Um,
Tubos?
yeah, maybe like 2010.
Somewhere around that time. So when I was big into the whole travel and trying to surf thing, I was like, dude, you go to these places somewhat in the month or time frame around these CT events, if it's somewhere new, and you're probably going to score a swell, right? So I saw they were having the Paniche contest, and I was like, screw it, I'm going freaking to Portugal. And I had a random buddy of mine I wanted to go. So him and I were like, he's like, I'll go, why not? So we go to me and this guy, we bring a tent and we go to freaking Portugal. We fly into Lisbon. No idea. Like driving on the other side of the road, we ended up like, I remember like getting a manual, and I wasn't that great at driving manual at the time. It was like, I could drive manual. I obviously know how to. And I'm like, but like on the other side of the road, switching gears, and I remember just being super confused driving around Europe. It's Lisbon, all confused as heck. And I'm like, dude, let's just get to freaking the closest campground we can go, and then we'll figure it out from there. And we put up a tent in this local spot near Sierra. It's like a Sierra's campground. And we're surfing the waves there. And as I get there, and this is similar because this is a funny story, similar to how Matt Miola kind of emailed me. I get an email. I'm checking my emails at like an internet cafe, and I'm trying to check the surf line forecast, the swell. Like when should we go up to that area? When's the swell going to hit? And I get a random email. This is funny, and he'll if he sees this, he'll appreciate the story. I get a board order from Pete Mendia. Remember Pete Mendia, the Florida guy?
Yeah, of course.
I'm an East Coaster guy. He's a legend in my book. Growing up, he was he was like East Coast Aki kind of guy,
The Yeti, right?
Yeah, Yeti's what they called him. And I don't know him at all, but he's like, hey, so I'm in New York for a Billabong tour, bus tour. And I broke my board, hurricanes here, whatever it was. And I went to a local surf shop and I found this 6'3" rounded pin that was like perfectly my size. I almost bought it. But I'm actually, the guys laughed. There's another guy on the tours, this kid, Raven Lundy, works for Billabong. He says he knows you real well and just to hit you up directly. So he gave me your email. I grew up surfing with Raven Lundy, he's an old friend of mine. And so I'm like, huh, okay. I was like, man, I'd love to make you a board. Super stoked to get this, order from you. Big fan of your surfing. But I'm camping out in Portugal right now. I'll be back in whatever. I'll be back in a month, and we'll knock it out happily, And I'm kind of get off the email, and I'm like, wow, that's so random. Pete Mendia just emailed me a surfboard order. Like, I don't know, kind of funny. This might have been before, like, maybe, the social media was still around, but like, I don't know, definitely probably before Instagram and all that crap, So it's like, it was exciting. I was excited about the order, and I was excited to make a board for Pete Mendia. So he messaged me back. Yeah, I don't have time. I'm actually flying to Spain with Surfer Magazine for some article they're doing on me and like my heritages or something. His dad or somebody's from Spain. I don't know what it is. And but maybe you can make the board over there. Maybe can you meet me? I'm like, meet you? I'm in Portugal. How far is Spain from Portugal? I'm like, he's like, yeah, if you want, I can make the board here, I think. Let me contact a factory and figure out how to do this, I guess. I'd rather make it back home, but like, if you want, like, we can try. He's like, yeah, let's do two boards. Do two boards. I'll pick them up. We'll figure out a way to link up. So I think I called, I don't know who. I think I called Marcia Zovi back in California, and I'm like, "Hey, Marcia, so I'm in Portugal right now. You know a bunch of people in factories. Can you set me up with anybody? I want to." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. I think Xanadu's over there right now. Yeah, here's Cyril. Look up this guy Cyril Bud runs a factory there. I forget what the name of the factory was at the time, but it was not too far from me. He's like, yeah, link him up there. I think Xanadu's even over there. Like, Xanadu, right?" And I'm like, kind of, like, just through hanging out with you, but like I'm not friends with him or whatever. So I go to the factory. Xanadu's in there. Sure enough, he's like got his whole thing on. He's got his techno music blasting. He's in there shaping boards. He's like on a full on shaping trip, right? I'm just in. He's like, "Oh, AJ, cool to see you here. What's going on? What are you doing here?" I'm just on a surf trip in a tent, you know. But yeah, I got a guy ordered 2 boards. I'm gonna make 2 boards, and Marcio connected me with these guys or whatever. And oh, cool, right on. Where's the guy? Local Portuguese guy? No, American guy. I guess he's going to Spain. I might meet him up. So I was like, oh, cool, whatever. I shaped these 2 boards. I pay the guys at the factory to glass these 2 boards. Cyril Budd was the owner of the factory, who's like a legendary old South African guy who moved. He actually managed Pukas for like 30 years and then moved to Portugal and started this factory. So I become friends with these guys on like a weekend, make the boards, and they're like, man, you see, Mundaka's they're getting the brunt of the swell. It's gonna be all time. Like, this might be and so he knows Basque Country real well because the owner of the factory lived there for 30 years. He's South African guy. He's like, Brew, I'm telling you, you ever want to score Europe? This is lining up to be like legendary Mundaka, like as good as it gets kind of thing. Like, you're blowing it if you don't go to Mundaka. Screw camping out in the campground. Boards will be done here in a week. Come pick them up. You should just deliver those things and tell whoever the guy is. And no one knew who the guy was, right? Tell whoever the guy is to meet you in Mundaka. Just go there and he can meet you in the parking lot. So I'm in here. I email Pete Mendia. It looks like a pretty good swell in Mundaka. I don't know. Like, I think I might try to go surf there. Like, are you anywhere near that? And he's like, oh, I'm going for that. It's good. All the local guys are saying it's going to be all time. Meet me in the parking lot at Mundaka, 6:30 a.m. this day. This is the day. Sick. Okay. Drive through the night. We get there. Cool. There's Pete Mendia. Gives me the money for the boards. Getting the boards. Nice to meet you. Rad. Sick. Well, yeah, we're gonna get some coffee and then paddle out. Hopefully, it's looking kind of crowded already, but you know, it's actually packed. But fuck, you know, hopefully I can get a wave or 2 and have a good time. And, you know, nice to meet you. Stoked to order the boards. Hope they worked out for you. Whatever. Right. Paddle out. Pete Mendia is already out there. Like, he's a gnarly good surfer, you know, especially in popping waves, you know. And he was like, all the guys were out there freaking were killing it. And I just remember, like, got a couple waves, had a good time, did my best I could do. And I remember thinking, like, holy shit, Pete Mendia is like kind of putting on a show. He's kind of owning it out here. But right on. So we end up going in, link up with him for lunch or something, or in the car park, and he's like, fuck, dude, how good it was. He was just fired at me. He's like, how good of waves are these? And I'm like, yeah, it's freaking, like, I don't know, some of the best waves I've seen traveling. Like, it wasn't easy by any means. You know, it was freaking 100 guys out. And he's like, yeah, no, I wasn't able to get that many waves either, but I had a couple good ones. I'm pumped on them. But hey, thanks so much. Fucking board's freaking working good, stoked. And some dude next to us in the car park comes up to me, a local Spanish guy, and he's like, hey, I overheard your conversation and saw that guy. Holy shit, he was fucking ripping. You shaper? You shape those boards? Yeah, I'm American. I'm just visiting, just traveling, you know, and made these couple boards for him. You know, we have a friend connection back home, whatever. And he's like, that was the best I've ever seen anybody surf Mundaka. Holy shit. Hey, I'm actually a shaper in Basque Country and have a bunch of orders right now, but I'm kind of busy and need some help. Can I pay you to come shape? And I'm like, nah, man, I got to go back to Portugal. I'm like, I'm only here for, you know, whatever, another couple days, a week or something. I got to get out of here. And I'm trying to go to Super Tubos. And he's like, look, we got like, I don't know, I'll pay you to at least make 30 boards. And I'm like, 30? You don't even know me. Like,
Yeah.
you're just going to come up to a stranger in a car park and pay him to make 30 boards? This guy's full of shit. And he's like, no. Like, listen, man, my partner's this got this big weed operation. We got the cash. We got the money. We'll prepay you for everything. And I'm like, fuck it. All right, where are you going? Basque Country? Cool. And he's like, I was like, where can, if you, somewhere I can stay? He's like, we have an RV. We'll park. You can sleep in the RV outside the factory. So I drive there and I get there and I'm like, this is a ridiculous scenario. We surfed this wave called Punta Rocos up there. It was really good. Hung out with a couple of these guys. And one of the guys' father was like some famous chef, and there's like a castle on the beach. And they like have all this like crazy, he does like a TV show for cooking. So we had this like crazy big meal, and the guys come to me and they're like, no. We want you to build the boards back in Portugal. We know the guy who runs the factory. He's got a good name. Zero Bud's a good name. Build the boards down there. We're going to give you the money for all of the boards. I'm like, you got to pay for the glass jobs, everything, my cut. And we're going to give you the money now. And they pull out a gun.
Oh my God.
A pistol or whatever. Pulls out a gun on the table. And I'm like, dude, you got to be kidding me. Is this a joke? And he's like, no, here's the deal. Give us your passport. We want a copy of your passport. We want to know where you live back home too. And then they bang out this wad of like, I don't know what it was like 30 surfboards prepaid. I don't know what it was at the time, but it was like, 20,000 euro or some crap, and hands me whatever the cash was. It was like a stack of money like this. And I just met these dudes in the parking lot, literally like that day. And he's like, the guys whose money this is, they're gnarly guys. These are like, dude, we're not fucking around. We're going to know where you are. We're not scared to fly over there. If you rob us, we're going to hunt you down. And I'm thinking, the hell type of situation am I in? I don't even want to build these boards. I was like, dude, it's not even, I don't even want to do them. And the guy who contacted me, this wasn't him. This was his friends, were the ones that were like, his pit bulls or whatever, He was a cool guy. And he's like, look, man, these guys are fine. These are my buddies. But yeah, we don't know who you are. Like, we got to have some security here to make sure you don't fuck us over, and just leave the country with our money.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. He's like, they're not going to do nothing. Don't worry. The guys are just flexing on you. So he gives me the money. And then I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm leaving like right now to drive back to Portugal. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm going straight to Portugal. Like, I'm not stopping on the way. It was like midnight at this point. Like, I'm driving through the night. I stick the money underneath the floorboards of the car, and I just start gunning it to the border, thinking, what if his buddy picks me off somewhere on the side of the road? This is like, feels like a drug deal or something sketchy. I don't want to be involved in this stuff. So I get to Portugal. I call up the guy, Cyril Bud. Hey, Cyril, remember me, the guy, the American from the tent? Hey, I kind of got some board orders, but like, we got to build these boards like now. He's like, yeah, bro, come on over. I mean, no sweat. How many boards? 30. You went to Mundaka for the weekend and got 30 boards? What are you fucking giving them away for cost? No. I met these guys. I don't know. Those 2 boards we made for the guy ended up being like some ripper. And yeah, I got 30 orders, man. I got prepaid for it. And he's like, bro, we're not going to build the boards. There's not going to be some rush order of boards that you just are going to dump these things for cost and screw us all over. So you got to realize, like, in the surfboard world, there's also the localism thing, like,
Yeah.
you're stealing work from my homies at Pukas. You're stealing work from us. If you come here and just dump a bunch of freaking Asia boards, or you dump a bunch of cheap boards, you're literally taking meals off the plate of our Sanders, who's struggling as it is. And I'm like, no, man, I charge a regular price on these things. Look, and I whipped out the money, and he's like, fuck, are you shitting me? So I remember Xander came and talked to me, and he's like, hey, AJ, like, I don't know what's going on, but they said that you got like 30 orders and like over the weekend, and were staying in the tent and don't know anybody. Like, come on, man, who's going to believe this? We know what you're doing. I'm like, no, Xander, I got the orders. He's like, fuck, okay. If it's legit, you got paid and you're paying all their prices. You're not undercutting nobody. And you got to realize, like, he's like, dude, these guys have been developing this market for 20, 30 years, going over there for years, like all those guys did, I don't know, a lot of board builders have been going to Europe for years and then helping to teach the guys there, helping set up the factories there, helping do it all, you know, and and vice versa. They'd go to Hawaii and they'd do all this stuff, just like I was trying to do on my own, but previously. And so, yeah, it just comes down to like, you can't just go in. Again, there's no rules. You can do whatever you want to do, but you need to be respectful in any sort of situation you go in. Just like any lineup you paddle out, you got to be respectful. You got to know the guys. You got to, you know, earn your time. And it wasn't cool just to show up and, oh, hey, I got freaking 30 orders, you know?
Yeah.
But so I ended up staying all night, or like there was like, dude, we powered the boards out, you know, whatever it was that first time. And there's a guy, another South African guy, Sticks, who ran the machine. Sticks was like, all right, I'm cool with you. Let's just get this stuff done. And we powered the boards out, paid the guys up, and then left. And the guys from Spain drove down, picked the boards up on a little surf trip, sold them all. Everybody was stoked, and it ended up working out within reason, right? So I go home. I'm like, all right, killer. Like, hit up Pete Mendia. Fuck, dude. Kind of owe you one too, because dude, I ended up getting 30 board orders from you that day after Mundaka. And he's like, are you kidding me? That's crazy. Wow. I'm like, yeah, it was like the day of days, and you just showed up and we're owning it. And it was a weird luck. He's like, well, cool, man. Glad that worked out. Stoked. And so I ended up getting hit up later on by the guys in Portugal. No. Sorry, actually, by the guys in Spain. They hit me up afterwards and were like pretty happy. Like, hey, you know, not all the boards we were perfect, but some of them were perfect. And we got the guys want to reorder the boards. Can you come back over? Cool. So I went to probably 3 years in a row. I flew to Basque Country and shaped with these guys, and became good friends with them. They got a bunch of cool waves over there and just had a great time. And we would do like 50 boards a trip.
Crazy.
And he still builds boards. He's a super cool guy. And then the guy who ran the factory in Portugal, he ended up leaving. He has a son named Luke Budd, who's a really good shaper over there as well. And one of the guys who was working in the shop or managing the shop, he ended up taking over the factory and was this guy named Zay ran Job Site Surfboards, or the Job Site Surfboard factory. And they took over Cyril Budd. Cyril Budd left town. He ended up moving to, he moved somewhere else. And so, yeah, they ended up contacting me and said, hey, we kind of, Cyril Budd gave you the nod that, you know, you're a solid dude, and, you know, it was good doing business with you. If you ever want to come over to Portugal, we heard you're building some in Basque Country. Come down here, we can build them. So I ended up starting to go back to Portugal again. And now we've been going to Portugal, I want to say like every year, sometimes twice a year for like at least 10 or 12 years in a row now.
Amazing, dude.
And it literally all started from, like I said, hats off to Pete Mendia. Thank you on that one originally. But it ultimately comes down to is like, you don't have to plan everything out. You can just kind of go, and some things throw darts and some things stick, and, you know, keep going for it.
Surf Splendor.